What is up, Gorilla Nation? It is Relentless bringing you a Division 2 video. I had mentioned it in a previous video, but now I bring you the actual details for the Gladiator Arena of the 4v4 PS4 tournament. And as you can see in the background behind me, this is the location of said tournament. It is adequate enough for all builds, no matter how big or how small as far as when it comes to range-wise. Whether you want marksman rifles, shotguns, SMGs, ARs, the sky's the limit, and there's plenty of terrain to actually do a great PvP tournament here. Shout out to Macho. He actually did one at the launch of Division 2 on PC in the same exact location, and it worked out really, really well. So let's go over some particulars. Let me go to my perch, and as you'll see, this is where I'll be during the gameplay more or less. So that way I have a bird's eye view of the scenery and the teams battling it out. One team will start over there behind those boxes. The other will start behind those boxes. And at the end of each round, the teams will alternate. So whoever was over here will now be on this side. So that way it's all fair. Now when it comes to builds, when you come into the dark zone or conflict, you have no restrictions on what weapons or what brand sets or gear sets or what builds you run. Just as this tournament. It's no holes barred. It's whatever goes. If it's in the dark zone and you can use it, then by all means, then it shouldn't be restricted, or anything shouldn't be restricted just because this is a tournament. You deal with the same stuff day in and day out in the dark zone, so this is going to be no different. It's going to be the best of 5, so that means the first team to 3 wins will move on. And in between each individual round, such as, let's say, one team wins, while they're at the checkpoint on the way back, there'll be a brief intermission in between rounds, so that way teams can, talk strategy briefly, and take it briefly, just a quick minute or two, or if they want to change up pieces on their build, or completely just swap out different builds and try something else because their previous attempt did not work out in their favor. So the sky's the limit. It's whatever you so choose to do, whatever you choose to run. There is no limits. And I think this will be a good area to where everybody can see the action that takes place. And we can finally get down to the nitty gritty and see who's the baddest 4-man squad on PS4. Now, there'll be a link in the description below for the Gorilla Nation Discord. I've already set up a own private channel for the 4v4 tournaments. And if this goes over well, then we'll continue to have that Discord there inside the server, that own particular channel. So brackets have all the list of different squads that are in there, and it'll be more or less really tidy and easy to just go in and communicate with you all as we proceed and to have more and more of these tournaments. But I appreciate you guys so much. Oh, I forgot, there is a $100 prize pool. Right now, there's enough interest to where the top 2 teams, first and second, so the first team will divvy up $60 between themselves, so that's roughly $15 an individual. And of course, second place will take home $40, and third place and below will take home a great thank you and a GG. But, as these things go along and get bigger, and since I'm the only one financing them and supporting them myself and sponsoring these tournaments, then, as they pick up speed, then we can talk about actually having larger prize pools. But it does have, it doesn't require anything for you to pay up front in order to enter in the tournament. This tournament is free to enter on PS4. So I just want to let you guys know that this is just my way of keeping things fresh and relevant in the Division 2 as we await for more content and await for other things to be changed, nerfed, so that way we continue to evolve this tournament as well as our builds and our gameplay and our game styles. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate all the love and support. And now a brief word about our I guess our little toy, Professor Kamikaze Von Dum Dum. Alright, it's time to take Kamikaze Von Dum Dum back to school and teach him yet another lesson. And as always, if you can't take the heat, don't come into the kitchen and try saying that you can cook. Because like this, and previously, you'll only end up getting cooked. So, lesson number 1. When it comes to your so-called deflection, as what typical most people say, oh, he's just clout chasing when somebody's mentioned their name. For one, you actually have to have clout in order for somebody to chase it. And I don't see nobody chasing you because, one, you put out trash content. You put out builds that are unverified, untested, and you put clickbait thumbnails on. So again, you're misleading your subs and your viewers, and just totally making yourself look like exactly what I call you out to be, a trash can. Second lesson, homeboy, if you would have took the time to actually, go on Twitter, ask the devs, after, you could easily took it out there like I did months ago and done the same reenactment that I did and test it out. And then if it didn't work as I've shown that it didn't, then proceed to go to the devs on Twitter like Thylander and ask them if it was intended to work or if it was just bugs and things of this nature. Then you wouldn't have even made a build video about the build, because there would have been no point for you to make a build video, because you yourself would either A, know it was bugged, or B, that it didn't work. And in this case, it was B, that it just doesn't work. And the bug has just been just recently to where it doesn't always proc the grenade from your chest. It's kind of like a hit and miss. But that has nothing to do with whether Mad Bomber and Negotiator's Dilemma actually works together. And just a little bit of time, 5 minutes out of your precious day in your mom's basement, you could have just easily tweeted out to Thylander, hey, is this supposed to work? And then while you're waiting for him to respond back, go out in the field and test it yourself. And you would have seen that, and then you would have had more evidence to back up your questioning when it comes to asking the devs whether it was intended, bugged, or just does it, work, period. But no, you didn't do none of that, and you still went along with putting a build out, untested, unverified, didn't even know whether it was bugged, didn't work or not, just for the simple fact to generate views and to deceive the community into thinking that you're some good bot builder type, but whatever. I don't really care what you put out, but I do care when you throw out disinformation and cause people to go in the dark zone with your so-called build that doesn't work, but tell them that it works, and they go out there and get smashed and wonder why it didn't work. Well, you're the reason why it didn't work. So that's on your shoulders, on your conscience, for being the bot trash can Professor Von Dum Dum that you actually are. So, to finish up today's lesson, and if you want further lessons, just let me know, and I will continue to let you ride my coattails, because unlike you, I actually test it before I actually make a build video about it, and I actually include either gameplay in it or a separate video before or after it. I don't just claim I'm going to put out a build video and then claim to have, the actual footage testing it later on, which is still, you never did. You just waited for State of the Game to come out and use it as a deflection, but yet what they were talking about had nothing and no correlation to do anything about Mad Bomber and Negotiator's Dilemma working. So you've been schooled yet again, kid. So if you want to keep coming in my kitchen trying to say you can cook, just like stepping in the boxing ring saying you can box, just because you come into the boxing ring doesn't make you a boxer, for one. Just because you climb into my kitchen claiming you can cook doesn't mean you can cook. But as I've shown, you just come into my kitchen and continue to get cooked.